right? It's rules for thee, but not for me. And yeah, look, what does this have to do with Bitcoin? Because it's a Bitcoin show after all. Remember, guys, if you control the energy, you control people. The whole ESG is an attack vector on Bitcoin's energy usage. Anyways, I tweeted this out a couple days ago, and I said they do not care about Bitcoin's environmental impact. What they want is to get to decide what energy use is okay and what isn't. I'm going to go back to this, by the way. This isn't going to be the last time I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about this during the news segment. I have some more evidence. And here is Elon saying, which it doesn't make sense to me, right? Exxon, which is a huge oil and gas company, is rated top 10 best in world for environmental social justice, ESG, by the S&P 500, while Tesla didn't make the list. ESG is a scam. It has been weaponized by phony social justice warriors. I believe that as well, because how could it be that one of the largest oil and gas companies is so-called ESG compliant, but Elon Musk Tesla, which is literally he's the one innovating. He's responsible for this electrical vehicle revolution that, is going to help people get off of, fossil fuel using cars, which would potentially help the environment. But he's not awarded an environmental social justice approval, I guess. And more hypocrisy, right? This is the UN Special Envoy for Climate Action, Mark Carney, pushes my microphone away, trying to avoid scrutiny over his blatant hypocrisy and being a part of such a huge carbon footprint in Davos, right? Remember, we've showed you videos yesterday. They're taking private jets. They're taking, gas-guzzling, expensive luxury vehicles. And here again, here's more hypocrisy. So this makes you believe, right? Is the ESG thing really as a form to control people, or is it really about the environment? This tweet by Elon Musk about Exxon being, so-called not more ESG friendly than Tesla, even though Tesla's an electric vehicle company. And again, more hypocrisy from Davos. Anyways, let's check out this video.
How do you justify how does the UN climate envoy justify the massive carbon footprint here today to set this up, this fake city for a week event? How did you get here? Did you fly?
Look at the cars.
You walked?
Yeah.
Did you come on a private jet?
Of course not.
No, so how do you justify this? Look at all of this. For 1 week event, the carbon footprint is huge. Don't you think that's a bit hypocritical?
Oh, drop it.
No?
Drop it. Look, there's lots of progress being made, but look, I'm not doing a stand-up interview, okay?
Why not? You're walking that way anyways. I think people around the world, this year they say regaining trust. That's the whole purpose.
I do lots of media.
Friendly media.
No, I do. No, God, no.
The ones that are here invited.
Look, I'm doing no media at this one.
Can we sit down and I'll make a time with you and answer some actual tough questions?
You can make a request for a meeting, and
so you can deny it.
Look, as I say, as with everyone else, you can do the same thing as with the guy from True North.
Yeah, he's a good guy, but
I'm a good guy. I'm sure you're a good guy as well. All people are good. It's absolutely right.
But the whole world is looking at this now, going, "You're a pack of hypocrites, and you're at the top of the chain there." What would you answer people? Just give me one answer to the people. Take care, sir.
So, more of what we've been talking about. This is what Elon Musk is referencing, right? It's rules for thee, but not for me. And yeah, look, what does this have to do with Bitcoin? Because it's a Bitcoin show after all. Remember, guys, if you control the energy, you control people. The whole ESG is an attack vector on Bitcoin's energy usage. We've seen it used by the Democrats in the United States. We've seen it used by European politicians, right? So yeah, and I'm not the only one saying this. We also have James Lindsay, which is a predominant conservative commentator, also saying that this whole ESG stuff has very nefarious intentions, and I don't think it has anything to do with the environment, and it is a potential attack vector, and they are using it as an attack vector against Bitcoin. Anyways, Jean, I know you have some experience with and especially working at the Bitcoin Policy Center. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, it's the Bitcoin Policy Institute, and I'm a fellow there, and some of my comments today will not reflect the Bitcoin Policy Institute, but I mean, I think it's really interesting with these Davos people, And I want to be clear that you can care about climate change and also disagree and see the hypocrisy of the Davos group as well, as I personally do. And, flying around in private jets, I mean, the reality is that these very, very wealthy elites are some of the greatest emitters of carbon emissions. Like, they are responsible for like much of the emissions that we have right now in the atmosphere. So it is hypocritical. And yeah, I mean, there is a great misunderstanding around energy usage with Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining, what purpose it serves. And I think it really just comes down to whether or not you value Bitcoin. If you think it serves absolutely no purpose, if you think it's just speculation, then you're never going to believe that any amount of energy use, any amount of kilowatt hour is worth going toward Bitcoin. That's the reality. So it's really, there's a lot of education that still needs to happen. And it's unfortunate because people like Elizabeth Warren, who have based their career on going after the banking industry, and in particular after the financial crisis of 2008, that they completely missed the mark on Bitcoin, because it is a critique of this same system that she claims and others like her claim to oppose. So yeah, it is problematic, definitely. And yeah, in a way it is an attack vector on Bitcoin, because it's probably the hardest narrative to fight. I think it's just it's one that never dies. And a lot of people rely on old FUD that has been completely debunked, including the Mora et al. Paper that claimed that Bitcoin was going to melt the planet in 2 years. Would make Bitcoin would make global warming hit 2 degrees Celsius within a decade, right? That was the claim. And many other scientists, there was 3 papers published in the same journal that said, no, the methodology is really bad. So yeah, it's a never-ending battle, but hoping that we can make some progress and change some minds on this with our work.
So we had Natalie Burnell on the show about a week ago, and she kind of had the same opinion, where it's a lack of education. Phil and I have been covering this subject every single day. And we have come to believe that it's a little bit more nefarious than lack of education. I'm going to get to that during the news, and I would love to get more of your thoughts. But Fumble, what are your thoughts on these hypocritical elites in Davos burning all that jet fuel, but telling the peasants, no, you got to own nothing and be happy. Eat your bucks. Shut up and eat your bucks.
Yeah, I'm also very skeptical of ESG. I think it's a tool that's used by the establishment for their own purposes. It may be an indicator of how connected you are with the establishment, where Exxon is top 10, whereas Tesla has recently fallen out of favor, so they're out. And seeing the Davos reminds me of I think it was some climate conference in Glasgow in Scotland in the last couple of years.
Yes,
and they had like people carriers picking up people from the airport and taking them to the conference, and they were all like Teslas and stuff, but they were all like recharged with like diesel generators around the corner. So there's a clear kind of like smoke and mirrors. They like to kind of give this image, and yeah, I think we really lack nuance from the whole discussion. Like we can both recognize that ESG is a scam and used by the state to extend their power, and as well all acknowledge that climate change, whether we might squabble about very specific predictions, it's an established fact, and so I don't having that nuance is not doesn't mean that we can't agree on certain points here. And I also wanted to say it's been a long-standing tactic of the fossil fuel industry to fund the propaganda to individualize climate change, to the fact that I saw a clip of some guy in Davos. I think you've already showed it on maybe yesterday's show about or maybe it was today about they're using technology they have an individual tracker of your carbon. So, putting the blame onto individuals when really there's massive systemic, institutional level abuses. I saw a tweet from Troy Cross recently, also from the Bitcoin Policy Institute, and said the largest US banks and asset managers are responsible for financing the equivalent of almost 2 billion tons of carbon dioxide in 2020, making the US financial sector the world's 5th largest emitter if it were a country. So they're good at using their capital to misdirect us, to blame the individual, make us all look at the plebs and blame them, and redirect attention to themselves.
Absolutely. Phil.
And I would just quickly add that I wrote up an article based off of the report that Troy referenced, and it's called Bitcoin versus the banks, which is better for the planet. And so you can see that on my Medium account, which is linked on my Twitter profile. So yeah, so I basically just do a comparison using the numbers from that report, and you can decide based off of what I've written whether Bitcoin or the banks are better for the planet. I know the choice that I've made says that it's Bitcoin, but someone else might disagree.
Absolutely. And we're definitely going to use that as source material in the upcoming shows. Thanks for letting us know. And of course, we'll put Jean's all her information where you can find her down in the link description. Anyways, Phil, closing thoughts, my friend.
Yeah, I think you guys killed it with the comments. I think that was well-rounded. The only thing that I can add is to quote the gentleman in the video: they're doing a lot of good. Just remember that, okay? Everything's justified because they're doing a lot of good. The hypocrisy is astounding. Anyways.
Yeah. You eat bugs. We'll go on private jets.